Howdy, David is here. That's my broker.
Howdy, people. Sorry, we were having technical difficulties, but we're back.
We are. We'll give a minute to. You can hear me.
We will be going over investments. Who's excited to learn about
David,
investments?
can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? David Gunn, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? That's my broker. D Gunn.
Do you have to accept each person? Because on your YouTube, you have several people that says are waiting to be accepted.
Can you accept them? You can't do it? I don't see it
I'm
where
not
it's.
done under myself.
Where?
Under your YouTube? No, like on your actual YouTube page, it says
Hold on.
3 people are waiting.
So, we will be having Claire speaking on how to find property. It's like the road behind us.
Go ahead and talk, Claire.
Hello, my name is Claire. Clarion.
Clarion, where art thou, Bartholomew?
That's where my
Clarice.
that's what my little sister says. That's why it's Claire.
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay.
It's just that like almost like 5-second delay on your YouTube
Interesting.
from when you talked. That came up a little
We
bit.
gotta make me a channel. Put that on the notes.
Okay, let's get started. It just says 2 people on here. 2 people
Okay,
watching.
guys.
Let's get it.
Let's get the party started.
All right, there's gonna be a lot of people who are coming in later, and then people who watch it afterwards. So we're just gonna start, and people can join. David, can you hear us? David would know. Can you text? Do you have?
Yeah,
David's-
I'll text. I'll
Yeah.
message him.
Okay. So, they can't see my screen though. That's the only thing. So if you guys want to see the actual text, you would have to go on the YouTube channel for that. So if you want to see the actual
Notes.
notes and everything.
Just type in YouTube, Claire Ann Investor, and on her YouTube channel.
Type in YouTube, search Claire Ann, ANNE, Investor, and the live will pop up with the notes.
Loud and clear. Cool. Let's go.
Loud and clear.
All right, so this is a 2-hour. We're gonna keep it as short as possible. But then we have a lot to cover. So we're gonna cover how to find properties, how to run the numbers, how to find private money, hard money. We're gonna go through the title escrow, all of that. And then at the end, we will answer any questions. If you do have questions in the middle of it, please let us know. You can type it in the chat wherever you are, but we do want to answer your questions as we either go along, or you can wait until the very end of it. So I want to say a huge shout out to Mimi. Thank you so much for hosting us today. She is the owner of Millennial Title, and she's going to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Mimi, and I am the owner of Millennial Title. And we are a tech-savvy title company here located in the heart of Houston. We look forward to providing exceptional customer service while also integrating tech and making it easier for both our referral partners and the consumer. So I look forward to hosting more classes together.
Very exciting. So about myself, if you guys don't know me, my name is Claire. I go by Claire Ann on YouTube, on Instagram, and everything. I have been doing real estate investing for the last 7 years, since 2015. And 7 years ago, when I first got started, I actually was doing flipping and then got into Airbnbs. I currently have 13 Airbnbs. And then from there, I went and I actually then bought property again. So I actually owned a lot of property, and then I went and did Airbnb. I took like a 2-year break from any type of real estate, and then I got back into the game it's been about 6-7 months now. So,
And we're excited to have you in Houston, by the way, everyone.
Thank
She
you.
is from Cali.
I am from Sacramento, California. I moved to Houston in 2021, February of 2021, and that's when the big freeze happened. So anybody who was doing the freeze and then everything went sideways. And I'm like, what did I just get myself into in Houston? So that was
We normally don't.
I know that's what everybody used to tell me.
And then here you come
And
and
then I
say,
come and I'm like, what just happened? Like, where did I just move to? So I have been in Houston for 2 years now. I do really love it. And yeah, so we're gonna get started on what the BRRRR method is, how to find properties, how to go into all of it. So you guys ready to get started?
we are ready.
Awesome. So cool. This is, I know some of you guys can't see this, but it is on my YouTube channel. So yeah. So the BRRRR method, what is BRRRR method? A lot of people don't know exactly what it is, but it is buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. So why is there so many R's? Because there's at least 5 steps to this, and we're going to go through all of it. If you guys have get lost at any point, at the very end, I'm going to do a case study on one of my properties so you can actually see a live what exactly the BRRRR method and how we kind of tie it in all together. So the first step is obviously finding these deals. And what are you looking for? You're looking for something that is under market value. That is definitely something that you want to be able to fix it up and on the back end gain that equity. So when you go and buy, you're looking for something that you want to fix up, meaning now there's definitely different types of fixing up, right? You have the lipstick on the pig, you have a full remodel, you have just like maybe in between, which is like you still have to do kitchen cabinets and everything. And then you have the full on tear down, which in this case, you really don't want the tear down. You really want something that is anywhere between 75, 100,000, 150,000. So I purchased a property for $155,000. It was a triplex, and with the triplex, we have a $75,000 rehab budget. Now, are contractors always on budget and always on time? The answer is no. It's never the case, right? So, but you want to find something under market value, and how do you go about finding these under market value? Now, a lot of people can say you can go online and find them, right? Online meaning like MLS, and go talk to a real estate agent. Or I don't necessarily recommend that. I always recommend trying to go direct to the seller, right? So the most expensive way to do it is by direct mail. And what is that? You go and you can find a company that actually writes letters for you. And they have there's one called Ballpoint, something like that. And you can actually go and they will write, hey, I realize your house is in foreclosure, and we would love to help you, and this is our contact information. And I've seen people spend $20,000 on direct mail. I've seen people spend $500 a month on direct mail. It really just depends on exactly your budget and what you're looking to do. To me, this is where you have to actually go out and do it a couple times. You can't just do it once. Once is not going to get you enough. You're going to have to go at least follow up 2 to 3 times in order to even really get anything substantial from that person, to get even just a callback. Because you have to realize these people are going out and finding once you hit public title and it's pre-foreclosure, or they're going through a divorce and it hits where it's public, then that is where it's going to, everybody in the investors, the agents, they're all coming after these people. So direct mail is really hit or miss in my opinion. And it is the most expensive way to do it. So if you're like, hey, I don't have a whole lot of money, there's a couple other different strategies as well to do it, which is the second one is the semi-expensive, which is cold calling and paying for a service. This is where I find it's a little bit more, it's more personable. It's more where you'll kind of get more leads in that aspect, which is paying for a virtual assistant to be consistent with the cold calling, because the biggest thing is being consistent with the cold calling, right? I used to cold call so much back in the day, and I had an accountability partner with me because I know that if I did it by myself, it would just be really, really challenging. So I make sure that I have usually somebody an investor or someone who's just wanting to learn to get together and have a cold calling party. We used to have those all the time back in the day. I know it's not back, it's 7 years ago when I first got started. We did a whole lot of cold calling, and I'm actually going to up my cold calling come a month or two from now as well. And then you pay for a service. So you're doing the cold calling with the paid service. So the paid service is like a prop stream, batch leads. There's a new one called Privy that I just learned about, where you can actually go and find the seller and find their information. PropStream is really good about this because PropStream is where you can go and actually find the seller and all their information. So their information about emails, phone numbers, and you can call them directly. So if they're in pre-foreclosure, it will show that they're in pre-foreclosure. If they're going through a divorce, it will show that. All of it is, so it usually typically updates itself. Usually it depends on the service. Sometimes they update themselves once a day. Sometimes it updates it once a week. So it really just depends. But PropStream is a really good one where you're paying for the service, and then you can get a virtual assistant to call them, or you yourself can go and call them as well. The other thing about PropStream and all these other paid services is that you can actually go in and run comps and run numbers on them, and they give you all that information as well. So I do like those type of services. So those are the semi-expensive ones. And then the least expensive ones is going out door knocking. It doesn't cost you any money to go door knocking. You find a list, you can talk to a real estate agent or any type of the PropStream. They also do where you can just get a list, you go door knocking. I used to go door knocking back in the day. That's how I found one of my properties. And you definitely need to go with a partner if you're a female. I had me and my partner, we used to go door knocking. And to be honest with you, it wasn't like, yes, I got a deal from it, but it was probably, I think we went out like 3 or 4 times, and it's the consistency factor, right? Now they make great where you can do like YouTube live, like you can go and post something on social media and get leads that way. You can go on PropStream and get those ways. So do I think door knocking is an effective strategy? I wouldn't say. There's so many different avenues now that door knocking is not necessarily you have to go up to their door. And people get really personal, right? When it's their house and you're on their turf, it's kind of a little bit of, it's a little bit personal for them. The other thing I used to do is I actually used to go do bandit signs. When you have no money, you have to figure it out, guys. So I used to do bandit signs, and I would get leads for like 2 to 3 days, and then usually the city will come and pull the bandit signs. So once the city comes and pulls the bandit signs, then you don't have any leads, and you have to go back out and do more bandit signs. And so for me, I actually found out that my roommate at the time, her dad was pulling my bandit signs, but she didn't know it was me. That's how small the community was. So I was like, so I figured, and then I kind of talked to him about it. I was like, those are my bandit signs, and your daughter sees me write the bandit signs and do everything. So the bandit signs, they work. You will get calls right away, but in 2 to 3 days, you're not, the calls are gonna really go away at that point because you have to go redo the bandit signs after that. And then obviously you do a good job for people. The last one is referrals. Referrals are the best way to get any type of business, right? That's with real estate, being a real estate agent, with any type of business, referrals are always the best. So you have someone calling you, Michael.
It's a CPA.
Oh. Okay, so you found a property, right? You got it under contract. So there's a couple steps that we're not going to be able to go through everything today, right? Because that's a lot in 2 hours. So I'm trying to get through everything as best I can. So running the numbers. So you're going to get your property under contract. Now, they always say you make your money when you buy your asset, right? Zoom in. Sorry.
Someone said they've never been a fan of cold calling. And the city doesn't work Saturdays and Sunday.
The city doesn't work Saturdays and Sundays. This is very true. But once the city starts working on Mondays, your signs are gonna come down.
And sometimes they find you if they find out what
They
company
will
it
find
is.
you. That's why I always put a Google Voice number on it. Google Voice, it's free, and you can get a Google Voice number on it, and they will find you if. But back in the day,
And they'll put a lien on your property.
yes, if you have any assets at the time. So, how to run the numbers. So you got your property under contract. You negotiated with the seller. There's a couple steps before this, right? So you negotiate with the seller, you got it under contract, and we're going to talk about how to figure out if it's a good deal or if you're even going to put an offer in, right? Because a lot of time I get people that come to me, but they're not really deals because you're missing a lot of information in running the numbers, right? You're missing typically the rehab, how much the rehab is going to be, how much the closing cost, if there's any agents involved, how much does the seller want to walk away, the cost of the money, the assignment fee, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go through kind of rough numbers on a property that I purchased recently. Do you like how I'm going to just pull this up and do. So I purchased a property here in Houston, Texas, in the 5th Ward. It's a 3-unit. So I call it a 3-unit, not a triplex, because it's actually a duplex and there's a single family house in the back. So it's really, I call it a 3-unit. So they,
Claire, whenever you pull that up, we'll only be able
you
to
don't see it?
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause it's on only on your video. Like it won't show up on StreamYard or on YouTube. It just shows on the video.
Slides. Don't you love technology? Share screen. I can't do it on this. Oh, notes. Here we go. Okay. You got it? Is it coming? Has lost permission to capture your screen. To fix it, go to your preference. Okay, well, I'm sorry, guys. If you guys are on YouTube.
Oh, there's the little pencil right there.
Where?
To the right next to the plus sign. You see it?
No, that's to fix the screen.
Oh,
Okay, so if you guys are on YouTube, my apologies.
okay,
I
make
will.
the note as big as you can, and we'll be able to see it from the camera.
I will. If you want to put the numbers in as I'm doing it,
Okay.
that would be perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Maria. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay, so I bought let's put it a 3-unit. Okay, purchase price on it is $155. You're like, how did you buy a 3-unit in the sorry, I'm not familiar with terminology here. The 610, the inner loop. Thank you. The inner loop is where you want to buy real estate here, is what I found out. So I bought a 3-unit in Houston, Texas for $155,000. And guess what? It was on MLS. And I don't typically, this is the second time I bought a property on MLS, and I don't typically do it. The only reason why I think I got this property in the first place was because it was during Thanksgiving, and I know that during Thanksgiving and during Christmas, nobody's looking for properties, and the interest rates just went up. So we actually, when I say we, I have a business partner. We actually went under contract on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And they said, if you get under contract right now, then we will knock off $30,000 off of the asking price. So that's how we negotiated down to $155,000. So on MLS, it was $185,000. My contractor comes in and he gives me a bid. That bid came back at $75,000. Now, do contractors ever stay on budget and on time? No, that is. I got a call from my contractor today saying that we need to pull the draw for one of them. I said, okay, let me go look at it after my meeting today, and we can pull the draw if you have everything completed, right? So $75,000. Now I believe that number will go to $80,000 because we're never on time and we're never on budget. It's just how it is in contracting world. So rehab is $80,000. And I'm gonna skip a couple things because I wanna go to the ARV. Now, anybody knows in this room what is an ARV? What is the ARV? Anybody?
After repair value?
Yes, I figured you would know. You just. And what is the after repair value mean?
The value once you repair it.
Yeah, so you're looking at basically.
After repair.
So basically, you're looking at anything in the area that is going to comp out. Once you fix it up, everything is ready to go. You are going to find what the ARV is, meaning that in this situation, we got an appraisal on it from the hard money. The appraisal came back at 428. So 428. Don't ask me how they got 428, but that's where it was. So my hard money lender then takes the 428 and they run something called an LTV. So they run their typical LTV is anywhere between 60 to 65%, maybe even less than that. So this one, the cool thing about this hard money lender is that they lend on the ARV, not what you're purchasing it for. So because the ARV is so high, from the $155,000 to $80,000, we actually didn't have to put any money down on this deal. Actually, we had to put $1,500 down, and that was a mistake. So most hard money lenders, they do 90% LTV, right? That's really what it is. This hard money lender does it based off of the ARV, which is pretty much they do asset-based lending is what they really call it. The ARV for the 428, and then we basically we put $1,500 down and we have to make the payments every single month. So I typically like to have, now this is kind of a learning lesson for me because usually in this situation, I use my own money. What I would do in the future is use private money for the down payment and the monthly payments on it, right? So, and they typically charge you points up front. Now I learned in Arizona, they actually don't charge points, which I think is crazy, but they do typically charge anywhere between 2 to 4 points. And she's gonna talk about a little bit more hard money later on. How are we doing on time? So it's typically 2 to 4 points, 10%, and it's interest only payments, right? That you're making to the hard money lender. From there, we close on the property. The hard money only comes when we actually get the first draw, which the contractor has to complete the work. So from the time that we close until the time that the contractor completes the work, we have to front the money. All right. So we typically give the contractor 10% of whatever the rehab budget was, right? So that's how we make sure that we're staying on track. So typically we try to do 4 draws because every single time you do a draw, you have transfer fees. So with that taking into consideration, now you're looking at least 4 to 6 months of payments, right? I like to calculate it as worst case scenario because if the contractor goes over or something happens, you want something to make sure that you are protected in that aspect. So payments. You're going to, so say on this, I know the exact payment on it is $2,800 with taxes and insurance, times that by 4. I'm just gonna do 4 for now. So that's $11,000 that we're gonna pay in payments. And then we put $1,500 down. So we have to factor in all of this stuff when we go and refinance it on the back end, right? So down payment, $1,500, and then closing costs. Oh, I spelled costing close. Sorry, guys. Closing cost is typically 2%. All right, so 2% of the purchase price times 2%. 3,100. Okay. So we keep going. So you also have to factor in my transfer fees. So if we take transfer fees, if we take, let's say 4 draws, my hard money lender does 165 times 4, plus to send the money to wire is another $100. 700. All this matters. Okay. I know it's a little fee, but it all matters, right? Every little penny that you put out is it definitely can work or help you in your favor. So purchase price 155, 80,000. You have your payments, you have your down payment, closing costs, transfer fees. Am I missing something? Okay. So if you're buying something, you don't have any agent costs, right? But if you had a wholesaler or someone that sent the deal to you, you also have to pay the wholesaler. In this case, we didn't have that. I actually am a licensed agent, and so I actually got a commission from this, so it paid for the $1,500 down payment. So we can also put your commission towards the down payment as well. All right, so with all that, so 155 plus 80,000 plus 11,000 plus 1,500 plus 3,100 plus so we're all in at 251. All right. So $251,000. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We're all in at 251,000. So when we go and refinance this on the back end, my lender will lend anywhere between 70 to 80% LTV. So, say we get it. So, sorry, I missed a step. So say we go and we're done with the property, right? We've gotten it all rehabbed, everything is completed. Now we have to go rent it. Now, typically we figure out what the rent is before we actually go out and purchase this property. So on the rental side, so I can rent one of these units I go based off of Section 8 housing. I know that depending on the market, but where this is located, it's a Section 8 location. So I go based off of, now will I rent to Section 8? Yeah, sure. But I also can rent to somebody else, but this is kind of the average of what it is. And you can look up the Section 8 where their market prices are on their website. So for a 1-bedroom in that zip code, we'll go for 1185. So times 2, because there's 2 1-bedrooms. This is why I like multifamily. So times 2 is 2370. Plus I have a studio apartment, which is 1,065. 1,065 equals I'm just gonna put it as 3,500. Just let's not 30. It's 3,435. Okay, but we're just gonna round it to 3,500. So 3,500 minus my mortgage payment, which I just know this off the top of my head when we refinance it, is $2,000, and then that is also then you have to factor in utilities, vacancy loss, and then also your maintenance, right? So cash flow on this is anywhere between, with the interest rates right now being where they are, it's going to be anywhere between, it's probably around $1,000 essentially is where we're going to end up. So $1,000 cash flow times that by 12, that's 12,000, but that's strictly cash flow, right? That's not including, that's including your mortgage in that. So from there, we're going to go refinance. So we bought the property, we rehabbed the property, we went and rented out the property, and now we're going to go refinance. I'm in the process of one refinance on a single family house, and the feds just hiked the interest rates right when we did it. But I've seen them come down a little bit as well. But so I'm not here to quote an interest rate. By all means, you lenders, don't come for me in the comment section. I don't want to hear it. But we are refinancing one property. We're about to refinance this when it's finished. And people can say that it's a high interest rate right now, but the cool thing about why I love real estate is there's so many different avenues to real estate that I can go and take this property. In 2-3 years, I can sell the property. We plan on holding this for a very long time. We don't plan on selling a 3-unit. We might sell the single family. Right now is a good time to hold property. It's really not a flipping market. If it is, you're going to take a little bit of a haircut, right? That's because people can't qualify what they used to back in 2022, 2021. So am I going to take a little bit of a hit on the cash flow? Yes, but it's still worth it to me because I can still cash flow on it. And then when I go and refinance it, I'm going to get all my money out of it. Plus, I'm going to make anywhere between $40,000 to $50,000 on the refinance. And then I'm going to take that money. That's why it's called repeat, is because I'm going to take that money and funnel that money into another property. So you're always trying to find something that's below market value in order to force the appreciation on it for then to go out and buy more properties. That's why I love the strategy. So when I did fix and flip, I was just fixing and flipping them and I wasn't holding anything. And when you don't hold anything in real estate, you're just working a job at the end of the day. Real estate is all about passive income. It's not completely 100% passive. You still have to answer to tenants, depending on if you get a property management company in there. But typically it's passive in the fact that you know that money is coming regardless if something happens, especially if it's Section 8. Section 8, they do 80%. They fund. I had a Section 8 tenant and that payment always came right in, regardless of the C word, regardless of any type of events that were going on. I always got paid for my Section 8 tenants. All right. Any questions? I kind of went through a lot at one time. Questions? Okay, so
I have a question.
Yeah.
Whenever you're looking up a property, like how do you know? You only know that it's under market because you're comparing it with other properties
Correct.
that are already completely built,
Yes.
right? Okay.
So the question was, how do you know if it's under market value? And the answer is you have to look at the other properties in the area to see what they're going through. So going through the CMAs, the comparables in the neighborhood to make sure that you can see if it's a good deal. So that's where you take you're looking for the ARV, and then you're going to look at what is the actual as is value currently. All right. So the one thing about the refinance is that you do have to qualify whether on a conventional, or you can do something called a DSCR loan where they typically don't run your credit or your W-2 income or anything. So the DSCR loan is a little bit higher in interest than the conventional. So the conventional, you still have to qualify as if you are W-2, credit score, all that good stuff. So you do still need some form of stuff on the back end as well. Now, there are ways to get into real estate without going through the qualification process, like creative strategies. And I'm not going to go through creative strategies today, like subject to seller finance. I've purchased property on subject to. I really like it because you don't have to qualify. It's based just on taking over the mortgage payments on behalf of the seller. So I do sometimes run through that on my YouTube channel as well. I do like subject to. I bought 3 properties on subject to. One of them was a mortgage that was so far back in the day that it's when there was a 2% mortgage. And I'm like, there's never going to be a time where you're going to see 2% again. And we saw it, right? And then, so anybody who purchased in 2019, 2020, 2021, to get a subject to property for that right now is probably a good deal where you can use some creative financing on that. So that's why I like creative financing. I like the BRRRR method. Obviously, commercial properties is great. There's so much to real estate. There's not just one strategy. And that's the cool thing why I like real estate, is because there's so many different types of strategies that you can do. All right. So we kind of went through the hard money on this. So what I was talking to you guys about earlier was, we're doing good on time. Look at me. What I did earlier was I talked about the hard money. Hard money is typically 90% of the ARV plus your rehab, right? So the cool thing about hard money is that they give you the actual rehab money as well. You take it in draws. You don't take it all up front. They do it based off of the work that is completed. Typically, when we do a draw, somebody comes out, they inspect the property, they make sure everything is good, they take pictures, it goes back to the lender, and then we get whether or not we get approved for the draw. All right. So once we complete it, I will say actually, I like the BRRRR method if you mix private money with hard money, because you can move faster, right? It doesn't strap you with your cash. Sure, if you have a good amount of cash, but at the same time, it doesn't strap you. You can actually go out and find someone for $20,000, give them a return on their money. They go in second position on the property, and now you have the hard money as the first position, private money as the second position, and you can use that money to then go make sure that you have the payments, you have the down payment, you have any little expenses that come up. There's always something that comes up in real estate. It's never where it's just like everything goes smoothly. I have yet to find that transaction. If you guys have seen that transaction, please let me know, because I haven't seen it in real estate. So what is private money exactly? Private money can come from your friends, family, sophisticated investors, or accredited investors. Accredited investors are typically syndicators, right? Where you actually have to qualify to be able to put in the money. Now, if you are doing any type of private money, my biggest thing is this. Number one, they have to be tied to the property somehow. Okay, they have to be in a first position, a second position, whatever it is. They should get title lending policy, meaning that through title, when you guys go through the whole title and escrow process, you have a lender's policy where it protects them on title. Okay, that's very important. The second thing is that you should also have something called a lender's policy through your homeowner's insurance, which when you take over a property, you're going to have insurance, right? But you're also going to have something that protects the lender. So if your lender lends you $20,000, $30,000, you also have insurance for the actual amount itself. So there's two types of insurance that you can get for private money. If you are going to use your friends and family, it's still a business at the end of the day. Any type of money that you borrow, you need to be acting as if it's your own. I take that very seriously because these are people who've worked hard for their money, right? And you don't ever want to take advantage of that. So you have your friends and family, your sophisticated investors, and then your accredited investors are typically syndicators, right? That's in the syndication crowdfunding. Sometimes they do a different type of regulation where you can do a sophisticated investor, but typically the big guys like the REITs, the Grant Cardones, the big guys, they are doing accredited investors. And usually you have to make an income of $200,000 or a combined income with your husband or wife of $300,000, and you have to have a net worth of $1 million to be an accredited investor to even invest into that fund. So there's a couple different types of investors, and there's actually more types of investors, and I don't have time to go through all of them today, but there's transactional funding. There's so many types of lending out there, but this is kind of what I like to use for this particular strategy. I like to use a mixture of hard money and private money. All right. Okay, so then once we go and refinance the property, I'm going for that unit, for that 3 unit that I bought. I think we're going to make a little bit more on it, but now that the interest rates kind of went up, we're going to make anywhere between $40,000 to $50,000. That is why I like the BRRRR method, is because I get a bigger chunk. So my goal is to go do a multifamily, a bigger deal. I actually have my eyes set on a multifamily for a very long time. To do starting in August, we will start raising the money. So we're kind of searching a little bit. We have the money for it. So for the down payment and for the rehab money, it's all going to come together. I have it planned out to come probably August or September, where we do a full remodel. It's actually a motel right now that we want to transition into a motel into a apartment complex. And then when we go and refinance it on the back end, I was doing the numbers and I'm like, is this like real life right now? Because it's like cash, it will, on the back end, it should net us in our pockets at least $400,000. And then that's where you take that money and you go reinvest it, right? That's why I like the BRRRR method, is because you keep reinvesting. Now I can go sell those properties at any point, right? And the reason why I like residential, commercial is because then you can take the depreciation on it. So if you work a W-2 job, you can take the depreciation on it. You have the cash flow on it. A lot of time, if you do it correctly, you won't have any of your own money in the deal and it will still cash flow you. So that is an infinite return on your money, which is amazing. So all of these, the only way to lose in real estate is that if you don't know what you're doing. And I will say there's plenty of people out there that do not understand it and they don't really want to take the time to learn it. So that's really where you can go sideways in this whole thing, right? All right. I'm not sure exactly where Mimi went, so I don't know if she wants
Just
to.
keep going.
Okay. So we are the title escrow process. All right. So if you have been listening or watching to a lot of YouTube or any type of investor, they typically will say, if you can get me clear title in 2 or 3 days, we'll close it in a week, right? So you really want, the biggest thing with going through escrow is understanding that you need clear title, right? No outstanding cloud on title, no somebody's gonna come in and there's a creditor that needs money. All that stuff needs to get taken care of in the title escrow process. And Mimi can go through that if, I'm not sure exactly where she went. So then you have the settlement statement that comes up, right? That's where you figure out who's paying. Well, typically in this contract, you have who's paying for what fees. That's all then done. Oh, okay. That's all done on the settlement statement on that. So once you have the settlement statement, everything gets approved. You get lending documents. And when you get lending documents, you sign them. It goes back to the lender. It gets funded within 24 or 48 hours. That's when my lender is 24 or 48 hours. Funding closes. And then when you go through the refinance process, you're going through a whole nother title escrow process. It's a 30-day process. It's all that good stuff. So you go through the whole process again. All right. We're only at an hour. Wow. I thought we weren't going to get through everything.
Sorry, I'm not seeing it.
All right. So I did go through the BRRRR method. I did kind of the numbers. I kind of told you guys how I found it, funded it. I funded it through my own money. And then I also have a hard money lender on it. And all the fees that go into it. It's so crazy because I've never purchased a property off of MLS until this year. So typically I would go out and door knock. I would find it direct to seller. I really like that strategy more than going on the MLS and going through that whole process. So yeah, do you guys have any questions for me at this point? Questions? Did I leave something out that we didn't talk about?
You have most hard lender does 90%, most of them.
Most of them I've seen do, but a lot of them will fund 100% if it's so far below market value. That's what our lender did.
Yeah.
Our lender did it $1,500, but to be honest with you, that was a mistake on his end. It kind of, something didn't, I know kind of what to look for now, but that was kind of a mistake. He actually could have gotten it where I don't pay I'm not paying my insurance. I'm paying, because it was such a good deal and that it appraised like as is, it was like 170,000 around that they were able to just absorb all those fees. And I came out of pocket $1,500, but
Lender was that?
Catalyst.
Catalyst
Out of San Antonio?
Oh yeah, they do. They're here. Yeah, San Antonio, but they also have Houston property.
They have their own valuation. They're not always going with that resource or something.
They have their own appraiser that goes out
Yeah,
and does it.
it's
Yeah.
always way below.
I like the lenders that let you use your own appraisal.
Yeah. Well, so private money isn't necessarily regulated, so you can pull your own comps to see. sometimes you can even pull your own comps and give them to the lender and say, this is what I believe it's worth. So yeah, that's a,
Do you have used catalyst?
yeah, twice. Yeah. Thomas. I like Catalyst. I know Mimi was talking about, she has a hard money lender that they use. So, but yeah, that's
Have you
Hard-
used Jet?
Jet. No,
Jet Land?
I've never heard of
They're
it.
pretty good.
Huh?
They're pretty good too.
Yeah.
I don't know, I haven't heard of it.
I like this particular one because they do it based off of, they know that it's a BRRRR method strategy and they know that we're going to refinance it. Hard money lenders want to know how you're going to exit the property, right? That's really, some do, some don't. Some hard money lenders will set you up where they don't care because maybe they want to take back the property. They want the property, right?
They want the money back.
Some lenders will let you go and do whatever you want.
Exactly.
They don't really care. This particular lender is like, hey, what's your exit strategy? We need to know because we need to know how we're going to get our money back. And a lot of the time they don't want to go through the foreclosure process, but some of them do, right? So you got to find the one that works for you. That's the biggest thing. But right now in this market, I do BRRRR method, but I also would do subject to properties. I would do creative financing because you're going to get a high interest rate right now from doing the BRRRR method. But you also can go out and find people that, actually I was talking to the Catalyst lender and he was saying that there was somebody who went out and got a loan on their property for 2%, 2 or 3%, somewhere around there in 2021, never paid a payment on it. Never one time paid a payment. And now they're taking over. He said seller financing. He also understands subject to property. Some lenders don't. Some people don't understand subject to. But he said that they're going to take it over, seller finance, catch them up on the mortgage, and then take it over, right? Because that's why I love subject to or seller financing, is because if they're behind on their payments with low equity, because there might not be any equity because it was only maybe 2021, 2022 is when they bought the property. They can't expect to have $100,000 in 2 or 3 years. You catch up on their mortgage payments and then they deed the property over to you. I do that all through escrow though. I don't go through, I make sure that everything, when there's a transfer of title, you go through escrow. Title and escrow. And then, but with subject to properties, you just don't call the lender on it. And then you take over the payment subject to.
A lot of times it's not worth it because they owe so much. And
It depends.
They want
Yeah.
and they want 30,000.
Yeah.
30,000.
But I've purchased 3 properties on subject to. The first, I've used, so basically on one of them, he's like, I'm in pre-foreclosure. So we caught him up on his payments and then he wanted out. He didn't want any money to walk away. He just wanted out. And cause he wanted to go live with his girlfriend that was in the Philippines. So he wasn't even going to be in the country. So, that one was the 2% loan on it. And then I bought another one that was in pre-foreclosure and the guy had roommates and the roommates were paying him money, but he wasn't paying the mortgage.
Yeah.
And now his roommates are like, what's going on? Like, I thought you were paying the mortgage this entire time. Why are these people knocking on our door saying that this is about to go into foreclosure? So those are the ones that you want. You're looking for motivated sellers in that aspect. All right. Well, we're done right at 1 o'clock. So, you guys have any other good questions? Good. Is there any questions online?
I've been writing everything you've been saying on it.
Yeah, I see it. Cool.
Oh, here's one. Other than the Elma, can you see it there?
Yeah.
Other than the MLS, how do you
LSD
find your
leads.
leads? Is there a platform to find motivated sellers?
Yes, Julie. I know exactly who Julie. She does Airbnbs. She's done Airbnbs in the past. At the very beginning, we were talking about how to find leads, which is through There is one platform that I like over the other ones, which is PropStream.
You type it on there, or how do I
Yeah.
spell it? PROP.
PROPSTREAM. Yeah, PropStream is a good one. There's also one called Privy. Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
How do you spell it?
PRIVY.
PRIVY.
Yes. That one I like. So PropStream will basically help you find. It will find the seller, but it also do the phone number on it, which is really cool. I do like because of the phone number aspect, because if you use some of these, like some of the other services, they won't give you the phone number. They'll just say that this person is in pre-foreclosure and you got to go find the phone number. I used to go down to the courthouse and find leads. That way you can do tired landlords, people who are going through evictions. I found a lead that way. It didn't generate me any business, but she owned about 3 properties and she wanted out of them. It didn't work out because she wanted too much for them and whatnot. But that is another way, is going down to the courthouse. So a lot of time it's depending on what's your budget to find leads, right? Or partner with somebody who will help you with the lead generation of it. Personally, I like the cold calling. Okay, so a little bit about me. I actually went door knocking back in the day, and I sold makeup out of the trunk of my car. And so my favorite part of real estate investing is actually calling the leads. And I know a lot of people can't relate to this because it's not, this is like the scariest part, is the lead generating part, is going and talking to people. But I think for me, that's, if I could do that more, I would love it. I love the negotiation part. I love the lead generating. I love all of that. That is my specialty right there, is the lead generation, the calling, the negotiation. I watch a lot of court trials. I think I was supposed to be an attorney in my other life back in the day. So that is really, I love that kind of stuff. But I do run a full company now, so it's a little bit more challenging, but I do like that kind of stuff. And on my YouTube channel, starting next week, we will be going through lead generation, and you will see me call leads, and we're going to go through the whole thing. Calling leads, going through all the numbers. If you guys have a deal and you want me to look at it, we can look at it. You don't have to say any information on it, just give me the numbers. We don't want to put the address out there because you got people that go out and they will call the leads for you and take the deal. You got to be careful of the sharks. So yeah, that's kind of what my YouTube channel is about for those of you guys who are still on this. It's going to be more so, I'm going to be live streaming twice a week, Mondays and Tuesdays. We will be going through everything, lead generation, calling people for 1 hour at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Going through all of that, giving away all the knowledge for free, all of it. So if there's any more questions, if you have one-on-one follow-up questions. Yep. I forgot my stuff downstairs. I had a little thing. All right, cool.
Oh, just pull up your Instagram.
Oh. And then I have the link, but I don't have the link.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that's it for today, guys. If you guys have any other questions. All right, online people, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys got some value out of that. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
It's a great job.
Aw, who's that?
David.
Aw. Dave is my broker. I'm about to go ask Thomas for referral fee for my catalyst funding.
Oh, yeah.
I've given him at least like 3 or 4 people now.
Why don't you just sign up as a broker?
Well, technically, I don't need to be a broker. Technically, like for private money, you don't have to have a license, right? So,
Right.
No, but there's like a broker pack, so some of these lenders will have you fill out a broker package so that, you know, you have the information, something
or
like that.
a broker package to get a
You don't have
referral
to have
fee.
a license, you don't have to have a mortgage broker license, but you're
Yeah.
still considered a broker. So anything commercial, what you're talking about, like the non-QM lenders.
Yeah.
You could broker loans to them.
That's, okay, yeah, I have to talk, my broker has he does something similar, so I definitely have to talk to him about that, because there's obviously the license part of it, and then you have the other part of it, which is the non-licensed part of it. I know someone who's a full-on lender, and he just does SBA loans, but he's not licensed.
Well, because they're commercial, so to broker commercial transactions like a loan to a business, you don't have to be licensed.
Right. I found that out